Welcome to the Fantasy Football Press Box with your hosts, Scott Fitzgerald and Sean Clemens.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Divisional Round of the playoffs. That's right. Buffalo Bills, they are still alive. Seattle Seahawks, they are still alive. I don't know why Scott's wearing a Seahawks jersey. Maybe because his Lions didn't even make the playoffs. I don't know. But here we are, rocking the Hawks, rocking the Bills, ready to have some fun with you guys today. If you don't already know, this is the Fantasy Football Press Box. I am your host, Sean Trader Clemens. This is my co-host, Scott. Run the hurry up, Fitzgerald. What is up, my friend? How was your weekend? How did you enjoy these wonderful games we had?
Well, I think this is probably one of the best wildcard weekends that we ever had. We did say in this show last week, watch out for the road teams. And if Green Bay would have just not choked in the fourth quarter, because that was a choke job by the Green Bay Packers, we would have had another road team victory.
Right. I mean, it was insane. It was a really crazy week out there. I mean, we had two games that were kind of like, we had the Patriots Chargers game wasn't the greatest. And of course the Texans Steelers game was kind of just ridiculous. But otherwise, man, the rest of the games were just insanely good, especially Buffalo. I mean, man, that Bills game was just an epic game. And, if you're going to sit here and argue with me about Josh Allen not being the best quarterback left in these playoffs, then I don't even want to talk to you anymore because your opinion means nothing to me. It's 100% obvious that not only is he the best quarterback left in these playoffs, he is by far the best quarterback that, in my opinion, is in the NFL right now. I know you guys don't agree with me, but that's how I feel. And I think he's going to go in here in Denver, and we'll talk about this a little later, and have another great game. But I'm just really, really pumped right now, man, based on how everything's gone so far. So, Scotty, man, give me a little bit of insight on how you felt about things this weekend too, man. Was there one specific game that really stood out to you beyond that Bills game that I already brought up?
Just like I said, the choke job for the Packers. I mean, you were, I think they showed at one point they were up 21, I think to 6 or something in the fourth quarter or something. And they just, blew that lead. And I thought it was a good spot for the Packers to get in there. Cold weather, they're used to that, division rival. I still think they were the better team in that game, and they just let their foot off the gas, made some, questionable calls. And, when you get to in that point of the game, when you got the lead, you really got to lean on the running game. And I just didn't think they leaned on the running game good enough. So yeah, you let a team back in like that.
Pushes that go for 11 yards.
Pardon me?
You know what I'm saying? They don't have tush pushes that can go for 11 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to rely on the running game. We don't have somebody like that. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, they like I said, they got a couple good backs there. They could have ran the ball, and they didn't run it good enough. So, and they're scheduling golf tee times and somewhere warm, probably Florida. So,
and Ben Johnson's taking the Bears to another game, and
that's like what I've always said. It's the Lions let the better coach go. Ben Johnson's advancing in the playoffs, and Dan Campbell's not. So we'll see how far the Bears can take them. He can take the Bears, and they got a pretty good matchup this week against the Rams. That's going to be a really tough game. Matt Stafford's used. He's played with against the Bears before, so we'll see how that. I think that should be a really good game. But yeah, any other games that kind of stood out to me a little bit. I like that.
We can get into that a little more later because we got those segments coming up too to talk about it. So you don't have to go too crazy on it. I'm just curious on what your one game was that really stood out to you. But let's talk about that later because I don't want you to go too crazy on it now and then miss out on some good rebuttaling because I got some stuff to say too, dude.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to go to the Steelers Texans. I was just going to say I did enjoy that Bills Jags game. I definitely enjoyed that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who couldn't, right? I mean, except for those people in Duval. I mean, they probably weren't too happy about
Duval.
it. What's up, Cyborg? Good to see you, buddy. It's good to have you. If you guys didn't join Cyborg's brackets, you are missing out. It got all the way up to over 2K this year, which is awesome. And I'm sure there's been some bracket busting going on with a couple of these upsets that have happened. Eagles Niners comes to mind first and foremost. Seems like a lot of people were not taking the Niners in that one. So again, get more into it later, but that was another great one.
Yeah, no, I definitely took the Eagles on that one and took it in the chops, and then, like I said, I had the Packers. So I'm down 2 games, so I really need some upsets going forward.
That's right, March Madness is coming up next. We'll talk about that in March, right? Definitely, man. There's a few other things that have happened too out there in the NFL this last week, especially some big news today. So let's roll right into our hot off the press and talk a little bit about Mike Tomlin stepping away from coaching after 19 years with the Steelers. I think he's only the 3rd head coach ever in that organization. That he is out after a 201 and 126 with 2 tie overall record, but the 8-12 playoff record is, I think, really what hurts him the most. So, Scott, tell me a little bit about Mike Tomlin here. I personally think that this was, hey man, we're going in a different direction. We got a lot of respect for you and we love you. We don't want to fire you, but we're not going to have you as our coach next year. How do you want to proceed? And he kind of took the hint as like, yeah, how about I just step away? And that's kind of what I think happened. I don't know if it's right or not. I haven't heard anything. That's just my gut feeling. Do you think that that's the case, Scott, or do you think it was more of a Mike Tomlin telling the Steelers, I'm done?
I mean, it could have been a little bit of both. I mean, I would have liked to seen what would happen if they would have won that game. I mean, what if they would have lost the next game? I mean, is he still going to get fired in the divisional round if they lose?
CJ Stroud really wanted him to win that game too. I mean, geez Louise.
Yeah, but I mean, Mike Tomlin's he won't be unemployed very long. I love how he's rocking the Guardian cap there. That's pretty awesome. So, big Guardian cap guy. Love the Guardian caps. But yeah, he won't be unemployed very long. He'll either get a head coaching job or he'll be in a very highly regarded assistant, but I don't see him being an assistant stepping down. He'll take a head coaching job. Obviously what hurt him is a playoff record. And then I think also what hurt him is, the quarterback play. I think, if they could have went in a different direction, as far as quarterback, if they would have had maybe a young quarterback that they could build around that might have done something. Because now, we all know Aaron Rodgers is not going to be playing next year. I mean, we can all assume that, but I'm pretty sure that he's pretty much finished. So they may just want to do a re-roll at that point. New coach, new quarterback, new personnel, that kind of stuff. So I think it's a little bit of both. And I think Tomlin's probably like, you know what, maybe I need a fresh start too somewhere.
From what I understand, he's still his rights because he's stepping away. Technically, the Steelers still retain his rights. So my guess is that it's okay. Roscoe can throw his 2 cents in about Mike Tomlin. I don't mind. But I think that Tomlin is not able to coach this year unless the Steelers allow it to happen, basically. So the whole stepping away thing kind of gives him that out, which tells me that maybe he didn't want to coach this next year anyway, no matter what his plan was going to be. Again, this is all just grapevine. I'm not 100% if this is all legit, but that's what I've been told. So if like I said, that is the case, they're not going to let him go to Baltimore. And right now, I think Baltimore just fits him the best as far as the teams that are out there. Maybe the Giants would be the other team. But otherwise, I don't see him coming back this year. I think he spends the year either away from football or maybe in media or whatever it is that he wants to do. And then he'll probably come back next year and take whatever coaching job he wants because he'll probably be the first guy on the book whenever it comes time for him to actually want to coach again.
I think he'd be great in media. I think I've kind of heard a little bit through the grapevine that, he's, this was obviously before firing. There, a lot of people would ask him about his future in football, and he didn't really come out and say it, but I know a lot of talking heads said he would be, pretty good with media, whether it's like NFL Network or, I don't know about calling games. But maybe
you can just tell by listening to him at the mic on the press conferences. The he's a very well-spoken guy, and when he wants to get his point across, he knows how to do it good. He's like a more articulate Richard Sherman. I think he'd be better at it than Richard, but have the same kind of approach.
Yeah, and some of these guys they have in media now. I mean, come on, I mean, we got the Kelsey, terrible. I mean, Wentworth, terrible. I mean, they got some of these guys in there. Go, come on, man. I don't even like Sherman either. So let's get some fresh blood.
I can tell by the look on your face when I said that.
Yeah.
Even though you're rocking a Seahawks jersey. I mean, come on, buddy.
Hey, well, like I said, the only reason why I'm rocking these, and I told Sean this before, long-time fantasy league I played in, you win a championship, you get the MVP, it's part of your trophy, and this was the year Sean Alexander was the MVP. They went to the Super Bowl. He was my fantasy winner. So that was part of my prize.
Well, congratulations that you come on a podcast and want to show off your fantasy trophy. But okay, I guess that's going to be the kind of show it is.
Hey, it was a long time ago, but like I said, I have some other ones in the closet I haven't broken out yet. But I figured.
Oh, great! That means we got some more of this coming. Is that what you're telling me?
This one's coming out because they're the 1 seed. They deserve it. This deserves to be brushed off. The dust I had to brush the dust off. Take the plastic off it. And, and actually it's a little tight, here over the years, but, it still looks good. So, and, I want to give Armin a shout out too, rocking the Seahawks a little bit.
I do like that it's a Sean Alexander jersey too, though. Like, they're probably half the Seahawks fans that are like all excited about this game coming up have no idea who that player is at this point.
No, ex-Alabama great.
That's awesome. So next up we got is another firing today. Well, I guess I shouldn't say another firing. It's the first firing if you don't count Tomlin as a firing. But Greg Roman out as the OC in LA. I figured that's a year too late personally, but he was 22-12 overall, which honestly doesn't have a lot to do with him. It has a lot more to do with Jim. And then the 0-2 playoff record is definitely an issue. Do you think that Greg Roman gets another job as an OC this year or what, man? Because I mean, I feel like this guy has proven over and over again that he does not have what it takes to keep up with today's NFL. And it's just like he keeps running back the same things and that aren't working. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. I feel like this has been his MO for the last decade. So do you think that this guy is going to get back in the saddle once again and somebody else is going to give him a job once again?
Yeah, I think eventually somebody's going to give him a shot. I mean, I expected a little bit more out of the running game this year. You got to remember though, they're running out there a couple rookies, second year in Vidal and first year in.
I'm sorry though, it's not just the running game. The man is not imaginative or creative whatsoever. And if
it's a pretty boring offense.
Do about it.
Yeah, it's a pretty boring offense. But on the other hand, too, Justin, that line was terrible. I mean, Justin Herbert was just. I mean, every game he's just getting killed. I mean, and you can't run an offense if your offensive line can't block. You can't pass protect. You can't run block. You can't do anything. So is all of it Greg Roman's fault because they can't, have an offensive line that can actually run the offense? So, and block people and protect. So, is it all him? I'm not sure, but he'll get a job somewhere else. People like, they're going to want to bring in somebody that can run the ball and put together a running game. And, that's how it is in the NFL. It's retreads, either retreads or brand new people. And a lot of times teams default to like retreads because they feel comfortable. Remember these guys that call the shots on these teams, their job's on the line. So they bring in a rookie and it totally goes in the toilet. That their job's on the line. So the safe bet is to bring in a guy that's experienced, that's been in the league before, and cross your fingers and hope it works. So,
I mean, I could see him going with somebody who like that young up and coming OC that gets hired, who's like really young guy that needs kind of that experienced veteran. And he wants to have this guy, but he's not running his actual offense, but he's just kind of there to help coach him through those scenarios. And they're running the head coach's offense like a Mike McDaniels type of setup, when he first went to Miami. Okay, bring him into that situation. Okay, if you bring him in to a situation where it's like a defensive coach and he's supposed to literally handle your entire offense, you're setting yourself up for failure, man. It's going to be the same shit that's happened with him. I'm sorry to cuss, but he drives me insane because I've watched this guy for too long. Just ruin good teams, it felt like. And I'm just tired of seeing him run the same crap out there over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've had an issue with him and his offense for a while, as you can tell. And I think that anybody who's a Charger fan should be happy that this happened and that they're moving on from him because they weren't going to get anywhere with him in that position.
Yeah. But even, I mean, to his defense though, It doesn't matter who you bring in as an OC. If you can't protect the quarterback and run the ball, with a good offensive line, doesn't matter really who you bring in there. It's going to be the same thing over and over again.
We've seen good coaches in the past get the most out of teams that have had injuries at the O-line and had to have backups play like they did, and he didn't do that. So if you can't get the best out of your backups to make your offense at least somewhat salvageable, it wasn't like New England ran away with that game, man. They could have easily had a chance to take that game if they'd have just stepped on the pedal a little bit on the offense, but they couldn't do anything. Herbert looked like he was just lost out there. He looked like the one seeing ghosts, not Sam Darnold. So
yeah, well, it's because he was getting pressured like immediately.
So was Josh, though, and he played a lot better. I said this in the DGen thread earlier. DGen Fantasy, if you guys don't listen to him, check him out. But I talked about this during their show that Herbert had some open throws that he missed that Josh Allen would have made. And I've seen Josh Allen make those types of plays before, and Herbert had almost the same kinds of scenarios I've seen Josh Allen in, and Josh made the play and Herbert didn't. Herbert threw it to the wrong guy, or he overthrew the guy, or did whatever that didn't allow for them to actually move the chains. So that to me tells me that the OC has an issue as a part of that too. Of course, the culture, the situation, everything is different for Josh. So there's a part in there too. But Justin needs to be given better opportunities to be successful. I don't think his offense is creative enough to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, he doesn't have a great running game. He's got a couple rookies back there. Lad McConkey is terrible. He was a bust. So I mean, and he just, like I said, there are players around him that didn't perform. The line let him down. We'll see what happens next year when the line gets healthy. And we'll see if some of these players can step up next year. But
there was some pretty unbelievable coaching decisions too, if I remember correctly. Some clock management things and some things that were done that I was kind of like a little, but
yeah.
I don't think any of them played their best game on that side of the ball, to be honest. So
No.
That whole team kind of went out there with their B squad and played that way. But next up on the docket, some sad news to talk about. George Kittle torn Achilles, and his season is done, obviously, and we're looking at next season now and where he's going to be coming into next season. Scotty, do you have any thoughts on Kittle? I mean, start out a little bit about what the Niners are going to do without him now for the rest of these playoffs, and then what you think might happen with him moving into next year, and specifically what you think is going to be worth it with him at drafting him next year in your fantasy drafts. Are you shying away? Are you thinking that this, he might end up retiring? Where are you at with him in general? I mean, the guy's definitely biggest question mark probably going into the offseason at tight end will be him now.
I mean, he's not super old, so you can, he's kind of in his prime, so he'll recover from that. Will he be ready for the start of the season? Probably not. He'll be a guy that you'll have to, you're not going to draft early.
He's like 35 or 36, ain't he?
I don't know if he's that old. I thought he was a little younger than that. Wasn't he like 33, 34?
No, I'll Google
it
while you're
talking. To me, the tight end, I think tight end prime is like 30 to 34. I know it seems old, but for tight end, they usually don't get going until around that age, unless you're like Trey McBride and Bowers. But normally, like the tight ends, they don't really get going until they're like 30.
He's 32.
Oh, so he's smack dab in the middle of his prime. So yeah, I expect him to not start the season, obviously, and then just he'll slowly get intricated into the offense as he gets healthy. But
I thought he was slightly older than 32. He's definitely going to come back. I'm not trying to say that he won't come back now because he's got plenty of time for that.
Yeah, but it's a big blow for the 49ers offense. In my opinion, he was the number one target in that offense. And it's going to be a big blow. They're going to have to put a lot more on McCaffrey's plate, and someone's going to have to step up, whether it's, Ricky Pearsall, who's been pretty much a bust, can't stay healthy. Juwan Jennings, you don't know if you're going to get good Juwan, bad Juwan. I'd be looking. It's Jake Tonjan season. So I love Jake Tonjan. I think I told you, Sean, for you Dynasty players, if people are a little slow to the Kittle news, go out there in Dynasty and pick up some Jake Tonjans. They use them quite a bit. He's a guy that is definitely going to be used in the playoffs and definitely going to be used in the early part of the season next year. They do like him, and Brock Purdy's had a pretty good connection to him, especially early in the year when Kittle was out, he was going to Tangents. So definitely like that.
I agree. I think Townsend is going to be a good one to have on your team for the next probably 6 weeks at least of the season or so to start the year next year. He'll be a good guy to have on your team. So if he's out there on your dynasty rosters, go pick him up. If you got best ball leagues coming up next year that you're drafting early, make sure you keep him on your radar for those late rounds, and just try to keep an eye on the guy as time goes on throughout the draft season. See where his draft stock is and try to stay on top of it.
Yeah, and you guys will most people are going to forget about him, Jake Tonjan. So, like I said, this is good time. You just what I always do is I write them down on a piece of paper. It's my preseason.
Yeah, it's his fantasy black book.
Just you remember, and then when it comes time to drafting, then you're one of them guys that are like, oh yeah, this Tonjan guy. Oh, I'm sitting here in like the 20th round. I need a tight end. Oh yeah, let's take him. Perfect best ball guy.
Yeah, it's let's move to some good news. I want to talk about Bryce Young, 5th-year option picked up today. Do you think that they're making the right move now? Because for me, I feel like Bryce is the kind of quarterback that you'll invest a lot to build around and you'll still never get there. And I don't know if it's just because he doesn't quite have all those like physical intangibles and stuff that like a guy like a Josh has, but I don't know what it is, man. I just don't see like that type of like real like ceiling for him that I see out of some other people. And I don't know if I'd want to build my team around a guy like that because I don't know if he's got what it takes to take him to that next level. Because at some point in the season, to win a Super Bowl, you have to have a guy at quarterback that can at least for one game take him on their shoulders and carry him to victory. And I just don't know if he's that guy. Do you see it in him? Do you think he's got that potential still? Or do you think that I might be onto something here?
I mean, it's hard to tell. It's hard to evaluate.
That tells me I'm onto something. Then the fact that you can't even answer the question right away tells me I'm onto something.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the physical traits that you want in a prototypical quarterback, but he has some games that he plays really well, and him and Tet have a really good connection together. I'm starting to really like this team, the way that they're like developing. Their defense, they can run the ball. They got some playmakers on offense. You got Coker. Looks like he's pretty good. So the problem is, you pick up his 5th year now next. And if you keep winning as an organization, you're never going to get into them lottery picks to get another quarterback. So
exactly,
you're in a point where if you don't pay him eventually, he's going to be a free agent and he's going to go somewhere else. And then you're going to be stuck with a bag. So, and then you got to go get an older quarterback or a retread. So eventually, if the Panthers keep winning, and let's just say they keep winning, but they're like either just missing out on the playoffs or they're one and done like they were this year, eventually it's going to get to a situation where the organization is not going to have a choice. They're going to have to pay them because that's what you have to do as an organization. When you have a quarterback, you got to pay him. Purdy, got to pay him. You got to pay these guys. Now, Purdy's been really, really good, but they had Mac Jones there too. So it's a difficult situation. Do I think Bryce Young can get them to a Super Bowl? I mean, they would have to really build like a really good defense and a really strong running game, and he would just be like a game manager. And you can win a Super Bowl like that. I mean, there's teams, Trent Dilfer, great defense. I mean, Sean knew I was going to do that. I always bring up Trent Dilfer. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have won one Super Bowl, but we all know it was the defense or the running back or whatever. So, but yeah, but the good thing, the Panthers are trending up. I like what they're doing. I love Dave Canales. I think he's an outstanding coach, and it's an easy division too. It's not a real hard division, and the Bucs are kind of trending down. The Saints are kind of rebuilding. We don't know what's going on with Atlanta. We don't know who's going in there to coach. That's a big thing right there. So the division can be won, and all you got to do is by looking at this year's playoffs, just get in there. You can get in there as a 7 seed, 6 seed. Never know what could happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. It's just like you said, you have to have such a good team around him. And I want that guy who's going to be able to put him on their shoulders when he needs to. And I just don't know. guy like Bryce can do it. So we'll see. I could be wrong. You never know. I mean, I thought the same thing about Russell Wilson back in the day, and then he turned around and won a Super Bowl. So, it was, like you said, on the back of a good running game and a good defense, but it happened, and it could easily happen for the Panthers. I don't think their fans would care if Bryce Young took them there on the back of a great defense and a good running game. I think they'd be just as happy with that trophy as they would any others. So, I know I would. I don't see any reason why anybody be upset, but the fact that I just don't think he's going to be able to get there without that is why I wouldn't want to build around him, because they're so expensive now. You have to invest so much into a quarterback if they prove that they're at least worth their salt, that you don't want it to be somebody that doesn't have a high ceiling.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But on the other hand, you don't want him to get away and then he goes somewhere else and
yeah, and then he hits that ceiling and goes above it on some weird, crazy scenario, right?
Right.
Like
Sam
Darnold.
Ask the Vikings now how they feel.
Exactly.
Oh,
all right. So let's talk about the playoffs, baby. Let's get into some wild card playoffs. There were some great games. We talked about it earlier. Let's kind of go into them a little bit more here, game to game, and just kind of break it down. So this was a game, dude, that I had no idea was going to be this good. I don't think anybody out there did. Everybody kind of thought it was just going to be a runaway. You can go, you can cook a little bit, get the house ready for the later game while you're kind of having this game on the background, because the Rams are just going to run away with it and it won't be worth paying attention to. And then nobody got to cook any of their food, and nobody got to get everything prepared for the barbecue, because they were all glued to the television watching this, what turned out to be one of the best games of the weekend. The Panthers really did come out to play this game, and I was shocked by it. They played well enough to make this a really, really interesting and exciting one. So, like we talked about with their trajectory, I don't want to get into that anymore because we both know what we think about what could happen with Bryce. But let's talk about the Rams struggling that much with a team that didn't really even have a winning record going into the playoffs here. Do you think the Rams are capable of making a run to the Super Bowl like we kind of thought they were about 4 or 5 weeks ago? Or do you think that the wheels have kind of fallen off and Father Time may be catching up or whatever, and they're just not going to be able to, get there without running out of gas?
No, I think the Rams are still a tremendous football team. But if the narrative is true, with the West Coast going to the East Coast, playing in cold where the Rams are indoor, and you know what? The Panthers had nothing, they're playing with house money. I mean, no one expected them to be in that game, win that game. So as all they really had to do, and I'm sure their coach told them, let's just try to stay in the game, try to stretch out the game and run the ball as best we can. And they did with Chuba and Dowdle. And they got a big game out of Jalen Coker, which I talked about earlier, being somebody to look into for next year. And when the screws start to get tight in the fourth quarter, this is the National Football League, and teams sometimes will clam up, and the Rams were playing with fire right there, but they had enough juice to pull it out. And remember, Puka dropped that touchdown pass that could have possibly put that away a little bit earlier, and Stafford threw a pick. So I think the Rams, they got that bad game out of the way. Okay, even though they scored 34 points, their defense did not look good. And I think they got that, okay, we're in the playoffs now. We got that bad game out of the way. Now we got another matchup against, where we got to go in the cold again, not as travel as far. But the thing with the next game is Stafford knows the Bears. And, I think they're going to show out a lot better, especially on defense.
We'll see. I mean, I think this is a scary, scary matchup for them. I really do, because I think they're both two really ingenuitive coaches, and they'll be able to really kind of counter each other well. And I think that the Bears are just playing better football at this point in time.
I mean, to be honest, the Bears they shouldn't even be in the playoffs right now. I mean, the Packers should have just ended that game. And
looking like a true Lions fan.
Well, I mean, I hate both of them. So I don't want either of them to go far, but I mean, you got to look at reality. I mean, the Packers had the screws to them and they let them off the hook. So, I mean, they'd be lucky to still be in the playoffs. So like I said, the Rams just played a bad.
Hey, wasn't it the Bears that got let off the hook last time too?
Hey, the Rams just had a bad game.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Had a bad game. The Bears were let off the hook. So yeah, I think the Rams go in there and take care of business. So Jimmy Furlan in the chat says Rams O-line is struggling and Stafford's not moving great in the pocket. Yeah, he's kind of a statue as it is. He's obviously older quarterback, and yeah, the line didn't play very good. But like I said, I think that was their get out of jail free card, and I think they go into Chicago and they do what they need to do, and they need to win the game. Now, do I think it's going to be a 34-31 game like this, really close? It could be, because the Bears can score points. So what do you think, Sean? I mean, I'm taking the Rams. Who are you taking?
Well, we're going to talk about that when we get to the next round.
Oh,
Why
you want to wait?
Continue to talk about last week before we move into next week, big guy. Jeez,
follow
the flow, buddy.
Oh, come on! You can't even give us a sneak peek.
You know what? I'm taking applications for a new co-host if anybody's interested. I mean, geez, this is 3 times on this show you've tried to skip the flow, buddy.
Come on.
Come on.
You can give people sneak peeks. You don't have to go all I'm saying is, who do you got? I didn't say you had to go into some explanation.
Hey, you know what? If you want to find out who I got, you've got to continue to keep tuning in.
Oh, Jesus. Well, just to give you guys a heads up, the LA's the line movement, the money line is opened at minus 193 for the Rams, and it's actually staying true. So
if you guys are interested in applying, feel free to reach out at Sean at sdfantasysports.com with your resume.
Oh, bad.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm just gonna sit here and answer questions. Then go on, carry on.
I'm just teasing you, Scott. You know we love it when you go off book. That's what makes it fun.
Next.
All right, let's talk about the next game before Scott blows a gasket on me. The Packers and Bears. Here we go. See, you kept talking about them Bears, and here they are again. You get to talk about them some more. So you're right. They did get let off the hook on this game, and I do think that the Packers, even though I don't think they deserved it, they should have won it. I don't think the Packers were the better team. I just think that specific game should have been won after the first half by the Packers. I think that the right team ended up winning the game, but it doesn't matter because that first half was atrocious, and I don't know if the Bears can play a half like that again and get away with it in the rest of these playoffs. So I think that Caleb came back and played well in the end, and I do like the moxie that he showed, which I kind of am surprised by. I did not think that Fingernails was going to have the moxie he does, but somehow, some way, he's pulling it out of his you-know-what. And old Michigan Wolverine, Colston Loveland, showing up over here with his 137 yards. I'm going to ask you, because we've talked about the game already a little bit, so I want to ask you about him specifically when it comes to his fantasy value next year and his rankings in the tight ends. He was targeted quite a bit. If he say, for example, he's targeted 8 to 10 times in every game throughout the rest of these playoffs, whether it's just one or however many, do you think that he's top 5 tight end next year in drafts? Top 3, top 10? Where do you got him?
I mean, yeah, he's looking like a top 5 tight end. I mean, if he's going to be targeted like this all the time, they didn't draft this guy in the first round just to play behind Cole Kmet. I mean, Ben Johnson specifically drafted this guy for a reason, so they were going to use him, and he's a rookie, and it started off slow. But the Bears aren't going to be able to target this guy. I mean, they got to use some other receivers too. They can't go out there. The Rams are going to know that they're going to be targeting Colston Loveland the whole time. So unless Ben Johnson schemes something else up, it's going to be hard to go to the same guy all the time. But I did say in the beginning of the year, I like Colston Loveland as my number 1 tight end coming out. And it wasn't just because he was from Michigan, because I thought he was going to a really good situation. He was going to a really good situation with Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson knows how to use the tight ends.
Well, where do you have him ranked next year then?
I would take him in the top 5, probably somewhere around 4 or 5. I still think you got McBride, you got Bowers.
Yeah, McBride, Bowers, of course, top 2, right?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate Kittle got hurt.
Kittle would be a solid 3. Where you put Laporta?
probably.
They got a new OC coming into town too, right? They fired their OC in Detroit.
Yeah, I would probably still put Loveland over Laporta.
Okay, so Laporta is not at 3. So is there anybody else? I mean, Tucker Kraft.
I like Tucker Kraft a lot.
He was coming
So
out
I like
strong
Tucker
before
Kraft,
last
and
year.
I like Tucker Kraft a lot. He could potentially be in that top 5 too. I think Mark Andrews will drop out, drop
Absolutely.
further down.
Absolutely.
I don't
Kittle and
really,
Andrews, we got to drop out of the 5 because of the injury issue for him, and Andrews is just situational. But yeah, for sure, right? So that leaves 2 extra spots in that top 5. We've already named 3 that we're for sure keeping up there. What about Kyle Pitts?
I just don't know if I still believe. I mean, he's had a revelation, but I don't know if I trust him going into next year. They're going to have a whole new thing next year.
Yeah, I agree. So I wouldn't put him over Loveland, right? You still have him behind Loveland at least.
Yeah. And then
right. So what about the other kid drafted right behind him? And
yeah,
Warren.
I like Warren. I think they're like neck and neck. I like Loveland just a little bit more.
See, I'm kind of leaning the other route just because of the, like you mentioned earlier, the target share scenario. Because it looked like Warren, before Danny Dimes got hurt, was literally like the apple of his eye, pun intended. And he was out there just slinging the rock to Warren on a regular basis. And I think the offense is basically going to be running through him. I don't think Pittman or anybody else on that offense, with the exception of maybe Alec Pierce's deep ball, kind of demands any kind of defensive adjustments. So Warren, I think, is the only one that's really there to kind of just be like that guy for them.
I think the Indy offense runs with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, it goes through Jonathan Taylor.
Well, of course it goes through Jonathan Taylor's running game, but the passing game is still, a 50% part of the offense, right? Yeah. I mean, you're still going to be throwing the ball. And if you're throwing
you like Michael Pittman? Do you like Michael Pittman? Do you like the combination of Michael Pittman and Josh Downs, or you like the combination of Luther Burton and DJ Moore?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you're not counting Rome Odunze, who I think is the better.
And Rome Odunze.
But yeah, I think the Luther Burton, Rome Odunze over those other 2 you mentioned by far.
Yeah.
I think Luther Burton's proven that he can be a really good player in this league, and Rome also. I think if Rome didn't get hurt, Rome was on a trajectory to have like one of the top 10 seasons in the league this year. So
yeah, I don't know if it was a scheming thing, but I don't know why they didn't like throw more. I mean, they did use DJ Moore, but I don't know why they didn't use DJ Moore Luther Burton a little bit more. It just seemed like everything went to Loveland. So I don't know if it was a scheming thing. That's why it'd be interesting to see what they do against the Rams.
Well, remember, he was limited too coming into the game, so he might have had some sort of a injury, slowing him down just a little bit too throughout the game. That for all we know, I don't know 100% why, but he definitely was looking at Loveland quite a bit in that game. So if that continues to happen down the road, I mean, look what he did for Laporta's rookie season, right?
Yeah.
When he was
I agree.
in Detroit. So if he takes that offensive scheme into Chicago next season, I mean, Rome is your Amon-Ra, Loveland is your Laporta, Luke Burden is your Jameson Williams, and like you go out there and you throw almost the same packages at them. I mean, who was the one that benefited the most in that scenario? Sam Laporta. Yeah. So I think you're 100% on the money when it comes to top 3 for at minimum 5 for Loveland next season in drafts.
Yeah, I'll be excited to watch them the rest of the playoffs. Maybe even if it's only one game.
I'm so much happier to watch them than I would have been to watch Green Bay continue to play. Honestly, like Green Bay, I'm sorry, I don't have anything against the Packers as a team or anything like that. I just they're not a fun team to really watch, even though they do score and they do well and stuff. I don't know. There's just not anything about them that makes them great for me. It's like watching one of those movies that Siskel and Ebert says is great, and then you watch it and you're like, what was that? Why did they even sit and waste this 2 hours? That's what it kind of feels like when it's like watching these Packers games. Yeah, they won, but like, what did I just watch? So I'm just glad that we don't have to go through that another time.
No, but Jordan Love had a really good game though.
Yeah, but is Jordan Love really that guy though? I mean, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, oh yeah, he had this great game, but I mean, it's like it was so boring of a game for him. And he had a great game for a quarter, and then the rest of it was just like ho hum. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I just have a hard time with the Packers a little bit when it comes to the way they're playing right now. And like I said, I'm glad the Bears won because I think it's going to set up for a really fun game next week. Next game on the docket, my baby game. We don't have to talk crazy. I won't go nutty. I know we already talked about this game before, so I won't go crazy here bragging about how good of a game it was for Josh Allen. But, I mean, if anybody out there does not believe that Josh Allen is a beast among men in the playoffs, then, you should just not watch football. You should go ahead and become a soccer fan or maybe get into like curling or something like that, because football is not your sport if you don't understand how amazing it is to watch this man play football. Like, we are going to talk about this. I will be 70 years old if I live that long, and probably won't, but if I live that long, I will be rocking in my rocking chair with a beer in my hand, telling my young family members all about how I got to watch the greatest quarterback ever play the game in his prime, in my prime. And it was amazing. That is what I anticipate to happen. That is what Josh Allen is giving us right now, is the performance of a generation. And I'm so glad that I get to witness it, not only as a fan of the team, but just as a fan of the sport. So on that note, Scotty, go ahead and tell me all about, this game in general for you.
Well, I'm definitely not gonna talk about Josh Allen because I mean, Sean told you enough.
By the way, did you see that his beautiful wife was effervescent on stage, grabbing that award, just like, oh.
No, I didn't dig that far into it, but no, it was a good game. Like I said, I picked the Bills to win. I thought that I would have, you got the experience in the Bills playoff battle tested over the Jags. So yeah, I figured I actually, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to be this close. I actually thought the Bills were going to kind of stomp them a little bit, but just one guy to I know it's not on the losing team, but Parker Washington, I mean, this guy's becoming somebody that you need to think about next year's draft as the number one receiver there. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, he busted hard this year. I mean, obviously they're not going to let him go or let him walk or anything, but this Parker Washington can kind of do everything, and he's stepping up. So he's a guy to look for in the drafts next year. And Trevor Lawrence had an okay game, but and the defense kind of held him in that game. But Josh got it done like he always does, no help, and gets it done. So
when you brought up a good guy in Parker Washington, because I mean, he did have a game that I think kind of solidified him as that guy who could be that type of Julian Edelman type of just, even though he's not that physically dominant player, he can be a game changer. He's got that ability in him. I mean, that you talk about a find when it comes to Parker Washington, right? And I'm it makes, when I see what this kid does, and I see that Liam Cohen came into that team looking and evaluating his current players, it makes me even more confused as to why they went and did what they did to go get Travis Hunter. It really confused me because, I mean, you have a Travis Hunter-esque Parker Washington on your squad already. So when he comes back next year, I know Travis Hunter is a different animal. I'm not trying to say that Parker Washington is Travis Hunter, but as far as some of the skill sets, they do intertwine to an extent, and some of the scheming and things like that, I'm assuming that they would probably overlap each other as far as the position for that play. So I just don't understand why you would not have the faith that Parker Washington could be that guy that he basically is, and give up the farm to go get a Travis Hunter, because there was some really solid players. They were only 3 or 4 picks away from the second pick. I think they were 6th or 5th or something, right? And so whatever pick they were at, they would have gotten an amazing player right there. There was no reason for them to go and just sell the farm to jump all the way up to get a Travis Hunter, who just, to me, doesn't seem like he brought enough to that team that wasn't already there to make it worthwhile. Yeah. Do you agree, or do you think that they should have went and done it, and next year he'll prove me wrong?
Well, I think with Parker Washington stepping up this year, and you still have Brian Thomas. I mean, that just the Jacksonville going into next year, I still think they're in a good spot. They don't regret. I don't think they regret that pick, because they can just turn around, put Travis Hunter right on defense, and they got a stout defense. he could develop
True.
into a shutdown
That's
corner.
true. I wasn't accounting for the defense.
Yeah, they can put him. They can develop him into a shutdown corner. They do not. And then if they want to sprinkle him in here and there on offense, give him a couple touches a game or something like that, that's fine. But yeah, I don't think they were.
That's not what you gave up. Like what, 2 or 3?
No, they gave. Yeah, they gave up a lot. Yeah, they gave up a
something?
lot for that. But I mean, I don't think they're like super regretting. I mean, they made the playoffs this year. They were on an awesome run. They have really good players. They squeezed a lot more out of ETN. Trevor Lawrence is hopefully with the new coaching continues to develop, and I think they're in a good spot. I mean, I don't think they're super concerned at this point. They could just say, look, we're gonna put Hunter on defense a little bit more, and we're gonna try to turn him into a shutdown corner.
Yeah, which he does have the ability to be. I think it's a waste of a guy like Hunter to put him on defense. I think
not if he's a shutdown, not if he shuts down or he's a shadow.
So, well, let me ask you this then. We're talking about Parker Washington and Hunter being like they're in a one or an either or. What about Brian Thomas? Do you think that this makes Brian Thomas a potential trade target and like to snag like some of the draft cap that they lost, getting Hunter back by trading him away, and then having Jacoby Myers and Travis Hunter as their kind of 1-2? Like, do you
No.
Parker in there as their slot? Or do you think that BTJ is like, no, he's staying there? He's definitely not on the trade block.
I think he's staying there. Now, whether or not when it's due for a new contract, if he sticks around, who knows? But they're not. Yeah, they're going to try to develop him, and they have a young team. So and like I said, they made the playoffs. They're 13 and they were 13-4 or 13-5 going into the playoffs. They went on a massive run. So Liam Cohen's looks like the real deal, and so. I like Jacksonville, what they're doing moving forward. And, I don't think they want to rock the boat at this point. So Lalitz is in the house. Never doubted the Bills. Of course,
right? Yeah, we heard about how much you never doubted the Bills on the DGen pod earlier today, but we do appreciate your presence here. And hey, I do appreciate you not doubting my Bills because you know what Josh Allen brings to the table when he gets out there on that field. And I think we've all seen it at this point. Every year, Josh comes out there and puts on the type of performance that would win an Oscar if he was an actor. So I'm telling you right now, this man is the top of the league. Scott, stop looking so confused. I'm right.
I'm not looking confused. I how much I like Josh Allen too, but I'm not going super crazy on him. He did. He played a really good game. I mean, step back a little bit.
He played a really good game. Are you kidding me?
He's still got
went to the medical tent twice.
He
got his knee rolled up on and still ran an 11-yard tush push.
He's still got some work to do. It's all opened up for him to go to a Super Bowl, and if he doesn't get to a Super Bowl this year, then I think it's going to be. Would you be happy if he didn't get to a Super Bowl with Mahomes out?
I'm never going to be happy until we get to the Super Bowl. Like exactly. that's the curse of being a Bills fan, buddy. Like that's just the way it is. But I'm telling you right now.
There you go, Cyborg. Cyborg cutting you off.
If there was any man out there that I had a bad crush on, it would be a Josh Allen. I love my girlfriend, so I'm happy here. But if there was ever anybody that I would have a man crush on, it would be that guy. Because I'm telling you what, man, he seems like he's got it all. Like, the man plays the greatest sport in the world at the top of the heap. He's got an amazing, beautiful wife who's out there at the top of her game, making babies and having a blast. Accepting trophies and everything. Like, I mean, you can't hate on the man at all. You got to admit the man has it all right now, and he deserves it.
Okay, all right. Let's move on before we lose everybody in the chat room.
Oh, man, you love it. All right, next game. Let's get back to the NFC. The Niners 23, the Eagles 19. So this is a game I called on the other show, by the way. Spoiler alert, I did say that they would win this game. I guess it's not a spoiler if you watched it, but Scotty, did you think that the Eagles were going to take this game just like everybody else in the DGen pod thought the Eagles were going to take this game?
Yeah, I thought the Eagles would win. I thought, being at home, I thought they would run Barkley a lot more. And he did have 100 yards, but he just didn't look like he had that pop. And then there was the AJ Brown incident. He dropped a couple passes and, and they just didn't really look crisp. And, Brock looked good. He's been playing good all year. You got McCaffrey, and actually with the Kittle going out, I thought they were finished, but Demarcus Robinson stepped up with a big game. So does it surprise me going West Coast to East Coast and win a game like that? That was probably the big surprise of the weekend for me. Is I really thought the Eagles were gonna win that game and say, look, we're defending champs. We're going to at least win one game.
Well, I mean, being defending champs does not mean that you're going to win a game, right, Scotty? Like they came out there flat, just like they have all season on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense did everything they could to keep the Niners from scoring. But you can only do so much for so long, right? Like they ended up in a situation that they just could not come back from, and that offense needs to be fixed. Something needs to happen, and I personally think that it's AJ Brown gone. It's Devontae Smith being your new number one.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked at all, because Howie Roseman is Howie Roseman. If he isn't the one who goes out there and finds another wide receiver in the free agency market, or makes a trade, or even makes a huge trade up in the draft to go grab a receiver that he really likes, because I could see him just basically giving AJ the walking papers and just giving him a replacement and being good to go. So that I think that would make a huge difference in that offense. I really do. I think AJ Brown adds a type of cancerous type of situation that is messing with Hurts's head. Somehow, some way, man, I think he's got into his head and it's messing with him.
Yeah, I think it's time to move on from AJ Brown. I mean, I think he's going to be 28 this next season, and he's starting to creep up there at age for a wide receiver. And you have Devontae Smith. Goddard had a great year. So yeah, I think they need to move some pieces around, and I still think they need to bring in. It's terrible that they let Gainwell go. I think that was a huge loss for them, because Saquon he's got old legs. I mean, he had the big year last year. He was all jacked up, Super Bowl, but now he's starting to show his age. And
well, I mean, everybody's talking about Saquon and this and that, and I don't think it's as much as 100% Saquon as it is his O-line is not the same, and they're not getting the push that they used to get. He's not getting the head of steam he used to get. I think he's still got the actual, running, like his ability is still there. He's still able to do it. It's just they don't have the same amount of things going on in front of him. It's not gonna be that much of a drastic difference over like a 4-month period during the off season, like to go from week, Super Bowl week 23, is it right, to week 1? It's about 4 months.
Yeah, but I mean, you can go back and look in history of the running backs that come off a massive workload, and they always deteriorate the next day. And sometimes when you get those massive workloads, could be, especially at an advanced age, unless you're Derrick Henry, they just deteriorate. That's just the way, the aging goes for running backs. So I just thought he was a step slow, and he's not really hitting the hole like he used to. And yeah, Mike could have been a little bit with the offensive line, but they have to look, if they want to keep this Super Bowl window open, they got to do some changes. And I think they need to move on from AJ Brown, and they're going to have to bring in another running back to spell Saquon and not give him massive workloads anymore.
I agree. Their draft they should go with like a, nice, good O-lineman, interior O-lineman, hopefully a replacement center down the road long-term, and get that guy in the fold and get themselves a nice backup back in the mid rounds, and then a stud receiver. Those are their 3 positions I think they should attack this offense or this season. And if they do, I think they'll come back and they'll be a decent enough and a good offense. I just don't think they're, I don't think that Hurts is ready to come out there and just be that guy right now. I think he needs some help.
Yeah. All right. Let's what do we got?
Next game on the docket, baby. Chargers and Patriots. This was probably one of the most boring games after all the great games we got to watch. Then we had this pooper to finish out the night. Justin Herbert, 159 passing yards, dude. 3 points total. New England did not do great, but they did enough. Do you think does this scare you? I don't want to go beating a dead horse here on the Chargers. We talked about Herbert already a little bit. Let's go ahead and move on into the Patriots a little bit and talk about how that made you feel about them in their first attempt in the playoffs with this kind of, young team and young quarterback. Did that kind of give you, was that the game you thought you were going to see out of a Drake May? Do you think that Drake May should have done better or should have done or did better than you anticipated? Or you feel like it was kind of around about what you anticipated?
No, it was a warm-up game. He's a rookie. He's all jacked up. I mean, it's first playoff game. And, I think they had the perfect matchup. They had a Chargers team that came in, terrible offensive line. The Patriots defense helped them out.
If that offense could have done anything, the Patriots don't win this game.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think it was one of them games where the Patriots are like, okay, we're in the playoffs now. We got past this game. Now the next game should be, you're not going to be all nervous. You're going to have another home game. But Houston, they're going to be coming in, and you
and Cyborg, you guys are both jumping the gun talking next game, but I agree. I think Houston and the Patriots is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. So I think that it was a good game for Drake May, and I wish they would use Travion Henderson a little bit more. They just keep holding back.
Well, you'll get your wish next year for sure, because I think that guy is going to be their guy next year. Where's Ramondre's contract? Do you know his contract situation?
I don't know his contract, but he's like I said, I don't mind the 1-2 punch, but I just don't like the split. I mean, you should have two backs, and I just think Ramondre is just getting too much of the work. I mean, you got a guy that is a home run hitter, and you're going to need him in the next game. So, and you're going to need him if you want to keep advancing.
Well, he's signed through 2028, so he's probably not going to go anywhere because Mike Vrabel, I think they were teammates at this point. He's so damn old. So I think, Mike Vrabel is not letting him go anywhere, and he'll be around at least for next year, which sucks because I was kind of hoping that Travion Henderson wouldn't have that, monkey on his back rolling into the new season, but maybe it'll help his draft stock and we'll be able to get him for a steal. Who knows?
No, but like I said, I don't want to dig into this game too much. It was kind of boring, but I think it was the perfect game, the perfect startup game for the Patriots for a first playoff game for Drake May. So I think next game, even though it's going to be a tough defense, I think Drake May will play a lot better.
I agree. Another boring game, right? I mean, geez Louise. We don't have to go crazy about this one. We'll talk a little more Texans here in a second when we go into that game that they're playing. But let's talk about Aaron Rodgers a little bit in his final, what I think will be his final outing, at least to start the 2026 season. I'm not 100% that he doesn't try to pull one of those, let me come back for a playoff team that needs me, like a Phillip Rivers scenario, if that comes about. But for now, I do think that he probably says he's hanging up his cleats here in the next few months. Do you think that Rodgers is, like, we talked about this a little bit. Let's talk about this right now. Do you have Rodgers as a top 10 overall quarterback? I believe you said you do. And I'm talking overall, like all the way back to the Bart Starr, days, like way back days, right? Like, Johnny U and stuff. Do you have him as a top 10 overall quarterback?
Yeah, he's in my top 10. I mean, he's like 9 or 10. I mean, I'm not gonna, I haven't looked at super deep into it, but yeah, like he's like 9 or 10 range.
I mean, it's tough for me to put him at 9 or 10. I'm feeling like if I just kind of just off the top of my head try to think of quarterbacks that I would instantly put over the top of him, I feel like I've got at least 4 or 5 right away.
I mean, I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers hater around, and I still think he's a top 10. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's not like, I had an argument with people yesterday. Brian and the D-Gen. It wasn't an argument. We were just going back and forth, and Brian thinks he's a top 5 quarterback of all time, and I'm like, dude, you're crazy, man. There's not even
close to top 5. He'd be lucky to make my top 10, like I'm talking about right now. Like if we really sat down, I mean, okay, we got to put Brady above him, right? You got to put Brady over the top of him. You have no choice, right? Manning's got to go over the top of him. Manning's got more rings, and Manning did it just as well for just as long.
Well, congrats. Yeah, congrats,
right?
Jimmy won 300 on Rodgers sacks in that game.
Good for him. That's two guys right there at least, right? So who's next up for you? The third quarterback on your list, right? You got those two. Patrick Mahomes. Would you put him better?
I got
probably not, right? It's Johnny U, Bart Starr.
No, well, I got Brady, number 1. Number 2 is Montana. Number 3 is Manning. Number 4 is
Montana, there you go, Manning.
Unitas, and then number 5 is Elway.
Okay, I could agree with at least those 5 up there. So there's nobody else. Who's your 6 then?
I would say probably Steve Young.
I like Steve Young. You put Troy Aikman up there?
He's close, but after Young, I have Favre.
Favre, okay. I don't hate the Favre one. So that's 7, right?
Yep. And then before Aikman, I put Roger Staubach before Aikman.
There you go. That's 8.
4
right?
Super Bowls. Yep.
So that's 8. Right. And then so I think Aikman goes ahead of Rodgers.
I'm not gonna argue with you about it.
Right. So that's 9.
Yeah.
Right. So at best, he's 10. And if I really sat down and I just like look through the list, I think there's at least one guy out there that I'd be like, oh yeah, he's for sure better. And I just didn't remember it right now off the top of my head. So I'm going to say that he's out of my top 10.
Okay.
So, not to say that he's not going to be Hall of Famer. He for sure is, but I think he's out of my top 10 overall.
So you like Marino over him?
I mean, I do like Marino over him, even though Marino doesn't have a ring, but it's just because I think Marino is like a really, really, really good quarterback, and like he could be the guy that I would put at 10 at that point, even though he didn't win a ring. I just can't. It's hard for me to hate on somebody so much for not winning a ring when this is such a team sport. I mean, when you got a guy like a Trent Dilfer who can actually get a ring, Trent Dilfer will tell you 100 times over that he's nowhere close to as good as these guys that don't have rings.
What about Bart Starr?
He's a close one too. I'd probably put him over him and Otto Graham. I think are both right up in that area right there, man.
So not to go super crazy, but I'll just compare the Green Bay quarterbacks. Okay, I'll just compare Green Bay quarterbacks. So Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, 3-time most valuable player, 3-time first team All Pro, 9 Pro Bowls. So that's kind of like some of his stats. We'll go to Brett Favre. Super Bowl champion, 3-time most valuable player, 3-time first team All Pro, 11 Pro Bowls, 4-time passing touchdown leader. Then we'll go to Bart Starr, 2-time Super Bowl, NFL most valuable player, 4 Pro Bowls, 5-time passing leader, and 4-time completion percentage leader. I could look at this list of these 3 quarterbacks and say that, and I would say that Bart Starr and Brett Favre and me would be ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
I would agree with you on that to an extent. I mean, that you could maybe convince me that you could put him ahead of Brett Favre, maybe, but it would take some convincing to get me there. It really. So I'm with you though. I mean, you're talking about he's not even, the top 2 in his own franchise. We can't have him as a top 10 overall, right? I mean, geez. So,
like I said, that's where I got Aaron Rodgers is right there for me, like right around like, if you want to.
And that's for now. 9, I mean, 10, wait till a guy like Patrick Mahomes finishes his career and see where he ends up, and a Josh Allen finishes his career and see where he ends up, and then see where you stand at that point. He's going to be moving down that list quite a bit, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, so I agree. So who's this? Go back real quick. I want to see. I didn't realize. So that's Woody Marks' real name. What is it? Jaquavius?
I guess so.
I didn't know that.
Marks.
Jaquavius Marks.
I did not even realize that either.
How do you get Woody out of Jaquavius? How do you get Woody out of Jaquavius?
Jaquavius Marks. I like that. Maybe that's why they just call him Woody.
I'm going to start calling him I'm calling him Jaquavius from now on.
I like that too. I think I am too. Jaquavius Marks. Right. Divisional round, baby. This is where we get to pick the games that you've been wanting to try to pick throughout the entire show. So
thank God.
Let's actually let you talk about what you've been wanting to talk about. Let's start with the first game on the docket. I don't have to wait, which I love because it does bother me when I have to start a day and watch somebody else's game before mine. And I get all anxious and I have to sit there and have to wait. And I just get more and more anxious. I just want my game to start and be done with early and know where I stand. So I'm very happy that it's the first game on the docket. Scott, I obviously have the Bills winning this game. I'll say it right now. I've got them at I believe it's 24-16 if I remember the exact number that I picked. No, 23-16. 23-16 was what I had. So 23-16 is where I've got this game for me. I think that we're going to win it. I do think it's going to be closer than it was last time we played each other in the playoffs, but I do think we're going to take this game. I'm not like sitting here trying to say I'm like the most confident guy in the world about it. I definitely am freaked out. They are the 1 seed. We are at their house. It's a scary situation, but I think, man, it's hard for me to bet against the best quarterback in football. So, Scott, you're going to argue with me on this one? Or are you going to let me have my win?
I'm going to take the Bills in this game.
That's right.
But I don't. But like you, I don't like it. It's like taking Robitussin. You know, I don't want to take Robitussin when I'm sick. So that's what that's what I feel like. I mean, going into Denver is a tough place to play, Mile High, and the Broncos got a heck of a defense, but so did the Jags. The Jags had pretty good defense too. So, but I think we're looking at Sean Payton, experience, Super Bowl winner. I think he's going to have some things schemed up for Josh Allen, but you know what? I'm going to say for one more week, the best player wins the game, and I think the best players in this game is Josh Allen. So I'm going to give it to the Bills. But like I said, it's bad medicine for me.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm not super confident. Obviously I'm a little tense about it. It's not going to be an easy one. Their defense is good. So we'll have to come out and play the best type of ball that we can play to win this game, but I think we will. That's where I stand on this game. I've got the Bills winning and moving on to the championship game. Man, God, that sounds great to say it out loud. Next one up, San Francisco and Seattle. Man, let's mention real quick that there are 3 teams out of 4 left in the NFC from the same division. I mean, that's pretty epic, right? I mean, that division deserves a little bit of a tip of the cap for that one. That is a pretty good stat right there for them. This is one that we've seen twice already this year. If I remember right, this one was Seattle winning both, right? I don't think the Niners took any one of these games, or did they? No, they won one, lost one.
I think they might have won one, lost one.
I think one, yeah, it might have been a win one, lose one. I can't 100% remember. I definitely know that last game the Seahawks won. I think that the Niners have what it takes to beat this team. I thought that the first time. That's why we both called them to be the 1 seed in the playoffs. It didn't happen, but I still think they have the ammo to do it, and they're playing good enough. The Seahawks coming off a bye. This is something we didn't talk about with the Broncos. I think it fits for both games. I think coming off a bye sometimes hurts certain teams. I think that these are the types of teams that could be the case. Do you think that that's going to happen with them, where they maybe just come out a little flat to start the game based on the fact that they're not warmed up per se, quotation marks?
I mean, yeah, sometimes these teams, they want to keep playing, especially if they're healthy and they're rolling. They don't really want a week off. They just want to keep the momentum going. And so, Seattle has the week off. I know the players probably love it because they get an extra week off, but yeah, it could kill the momentum.
Yeah. It's hard for me to think about going from intense, making the playoffs, getting the right seed. Oh, yeah. And then, okay, you get 4 days to just go lay on a beach in Cancun or do whatever you want and just relax, and then but come back and be ready to go because we're playoffs. Like, it's hard for me to think that the high to low and then back to high is like something that they all can just do without a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'm always looking at the line too, and the line's -7 Seattle. That's what it opened. It's staying pretty steady, so that really hasn't moved around much. The money line is opened at Seattle -339. It's actually kind of holding steady. So Seattle's a tough place to play. You got the 12th man. That Seattle defense is no joke. So I think the Kittle injury is definitely going to be somewhat of a concern, but we did talk about Tangens who can step up. I do like the dual backs for Seattle. Charbonnet looks like he's been kind of the lead, and Kenny Walker, the third, has kind of been like a secondary guy. And then obviously you have the best receiver.
You're only saying that because he's Michigan State. If he was Michigan, you'd be like, he's the lead, and Charbonnet is doing a great job.
Is that what I'm doing? I'm putting the Michigan guy ahead. Oh, okay. I didn't realize I was doing that. That's probably just a jerk reaction. So, and then JSN. I mean, is JSN is he the best receiver going into next year's draft? I mean, are we still drafting Jamar Chase over him, or is it or is he second, or he's definitely over JJ, right?
Bro, I'm saying he's in that top tier at minimum, right? You got Jamar and JJ. I know I got Josh on the brain. You got Jamar and JJ. And now JSN, right? They got to be in that mix, and then Neighbors maybe if he's healthy. He's in that top tier with those guys. 100. Where does he fall in that tier? That's a good question, man. It's a great question.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that Seattle gets this done. Like I said, we had them at the top of our power rankings pretty much the whole year. So I'm gonna stick with them. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, I want to say the Niners are going to take this game because my gut is telling me that the Niners are going to take this game, but I feel like it might just be indigestion, so I'm going to ignore it and eat a Tums later and take the Seahawks in this game. I just don't think that they are going to be going in at home with that 12th man and laying an egg. I just don't see it. Not against a team that they've already played twice. So they've got 8 full quarters of game tape to study, 2 full weeks to do it. I just think they're going to come out there. Even if they come out a little flat, they'll recover in time and they'll win that game. Yep. So far we both agree. We've got Bills and Seahawks and Saturday's games.
All right.
So the next matchup, the defensive defenses matchup, Texans and Patriots. Scotty, Texans Patriots here. This is one that I am going with the underdog. I'm going to go with the road squad. I think the Texans, even though CJ give it away Stroud, looks like he does not want to keep playing. I think the defense is basically giving him the old back of the head smack and telling him to get back out there because we're not going anywhere. And they are going to come out and lay the smack down on old Drake May. I just don't think that they're played well enough. I think they're just a little too inexperienced. I think the Texans have enough juice on both sides of the ball to do what they need to do to beat the Patriots. So I'm going to take the Texans on this one. Do you agree with me? Because I feel like your reaction is telling me otherwise.
Well, before the playoffs start, Houston was my dark horse. I mean, I thought they had a really good chance to make it to the Super Bowl. But after what I saw from CJ Stroud, I mean, the guy dropped 3 snaps, not even looking at the ball. They have no Nico Collins.
One of them doesn't count. One of them, he literally was not supposed to snap the ball. The other 2 were 100% his fault.
Okay, well, then we'll say 2. But you shouldn't even do it. You shouldn't even drop it one time in a game. And one time's excessive. So, and he definitely missed some throws. It's weird. He'd roll out of the pocket and he'd do a jump pass. And he threw the ball over the receiver's head. He
looked rattled, didn't he? He looked like a rookie playing his first game in the NFL.
No, and he's been in big games. I mean, in college, he's been in big games. And so that's very concerning. I mean, and Houston had to score a defensive touchdown to even put that game away. So I don't know if I trust CJ Stroud now. Nico Collins has got a bad concussion. He's going to be out. So
that's a factor. That's a huge factor that we didn't talk about that we should have is Nico having his concussion and being out. That's we should have actually brought that up in hot off the press. Stupid me for not talking about it. But that is definitely something that's going to make a huge difference in this game. Nico is a beast, man, and not having him to even if it's just to distract the defense, not having him on that field is a big deal.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a pass on that. I know you have Josh on your mind, but yeah, so I think Mike Vrabel's going to have these guys ready to go. I'm like I said, I'm a big Houston guy, but I just think with the injury and the rattling of CJ Stroud, and he just does not look good. I'm going to take the Patriots. I think you're going to see a lot of Travion Henderson in this game. They're going to try to slow this pass rush, and I think they're going to try to really run the ball and try to tire out that Houston defense. So I'm going to take the Patriots. So I don't expect a huge game out of Drake May. I'm expecting more out of the running game, and it wouldn't shock me if you get one of those Travion 60-yard touchdown runs.
Hey, I mean, the more you talk, the more I feel like I might have made a mistake taking the Texans, but it's what I'm hoping for. It's what I originally thought, and I'm going to stick with it. So I'm taking Texans. You're taking Pats. First one that we disagree on. Let's see if we go 2-2, or are we going to go 3-1? Rams and Bears. So this is the final game. I think it's actually a good spot for this one being the final game because it will be a great one to watch. I'm expecting fireworks in this game. I would say, my opinion, I gotta lean towards the Bears just the way they're playing versus the way the Rams are playing right now. But I hate picking against Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. So it's gonna pain me to say it, but I'm gonna take the Bears, and I'm nowhere near as confident this week as I was last week when I went. What was that? 6-1. So or 5-1, whatever it is. But either way, I'm going to go with the Bears, and I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the line here. It's kind of moving more towards LA's favor. Money line's kind of staying pretty stable. I think the Rams had a scare last week, and I don't think they're going to let that scare happen again. This is an experienced team with a lot of experienced players that have been in the playoffs before. Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. And Sean McVay being a Super Bowl champ. I do like Ben Johnson, but I think the buck stops this week. I think they were pretty lucky getting out of the game last week. So I expect the Rams to take care of business. They're not going to make the same mistake as they did last week. I think if they get a lead in this game, they're going to put the pedal to the metal, and they're just going to just continue to move forward in that game and put points on the board. So I think in a boat race, they should win this game and outscore the Bears.
All right. So you got the Rams winning, huh? So you got an all NFC West NFC championship.
I think that's what we figured it would be. It would either be some combination of the Niners, Seahawks, Rams. They've been that's been a really good
way to play the odds. I mean, it is 3-1. So yeah, good job there, Scott. Jeez, way to put yourself out there.
I mean, the Rams and the Seahawks have been our top teams pretty much the whole year. So it was a collision course that was going to happen anyways.
It's true. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it's hard not to pick it because at this point in time, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen there. I definitely do like the Bears. I think they're going to take that game. So we are going 2-2 this week. So it'll be an interesting pod next week to see how this plays out and who's going to win, who's going to lose, because we definitely are not picking the same guys. I'm excited though, man. I think this divisional round is going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be 4 really, really good games. This is kind of my favorite week of the playoffs, man. You got the 1 seeds back. You got everybody who means something there. You got all the scrubs who made it with losing records weeded out, and it's the cream of the crop now duking it out. This is where it really is like just the best in my opinion. Right. So, man, Scott, this was a lot of fun. I mean, I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. I know that you don't like to hear as much of the Josh Allen love as I like to give out, but unfortunately, when we win a game, you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Oh, I wonder what's gonna happen when they're not around anymore. Are you gonna be okay? Are you gonna?
I don't know. I think about that every day. I really do. It scares me.
All right. Well, you know what? If the Bills lose next week, I may be taking applications.
Okay. Oh man! All right, shots fired. Look at that! Right at the end of the show, pulls out the big guns.
Yeah. Well, just to let you guys know, Sean forgot in the beginning of the show. Please like and subscribe to our podcast. It really helps out a lot. We'll be launching some games pretty soon. There'll be obviously break-free games with a big bonus that we're going to be paying out of our pockets for you guys. So
we're raking it from you and then giving it back to you and calling it a bonus. We're not doing that. Giving you a bonus
out of our pockets. So please, that's how we're going to run this. We're going to our monetization, and the best thing you guys can do is please like and subscribe and tell friends, come on in, watch the show. And that's how that's how we're gonna roll. So super
Absolutely.
excited. Happy. I'm glad for you guys all coming in the chat. Like I said, super excited next week. Divisional rounds, 1 seeds.
Absolutely. Yep. We got a lot of great things coming for you guys too. We got our website coming soon. We would have launched it here this week, but we delayed it just a little bit longer because we're trying to fine tune just a couple more things before we throw it out there for you guys, as well as the games. Scott mentioned the games. We got those coming here soon. We're very, very close to having all the logistical side of that figured out and lined out and ready to roll. We've got leagues created. We've got some things already done that we're just a step or two away from showing them to you guys and getting them out there for you. So make sure you stay tuned and you like and you subscribe, because I don't want Scott yelling at me. And I also want you guys to make sure you get in these games, because it will be a lot of fun. It will be worth your while. And who doesn't want free money in their pockets, right? Like, geez Louise, yeah, you guys want to take our money, right? We're annoying people. You want to steal our money? Come on, come in here and take it. We're giving it to you. All you got to do is show up and take it.
Well, you'd have to earn it.
Well, of course, you got to be good at what we're doing here, right? You got to be a good fantasy football player to come take the money. We're not just going to give it to any rando. You can't just come and ask for it and get it. You got to earn it.
Exactly. So
awesome. All right. Thanks, you guys, for joining in. Thanks, Cyborg. You guys are great. Jim, everybody who's been in the audience, we all appreciate you guys a lot. I know there's a lot of you guys that have been listening that haven't been commenting. We still love you guys just as much as everybody who comments, too. So we really, 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 really appreciate all of you. We hope you had a great, great wild card round and are looking forward to this divisional round. We will see you guys next time.